What is up, guys? Ninja Nick 333. We are back with another round of the Pokemon Knoxville Trading Card Game Regional Championships. And we have Alex Cole here on the left versus Aaron Tarbell here on the right. We will have to see what these players are playing. It was very hard to scrub to the correct part of the video because I just went through this whole giant chunk where it was just like replays from other tournaments, and I kept like thinking that it was the correct thing, and it was just a mess. Looks like Tarbell is on Rayquaza Lost Box, probably the second worst version of the deck in my opinion. If your name is not Nick Moffitt, I don't believe that you should be playing this deck. And then Alex Cole here on the left is playing, looks like Vikavolt, because we see the Raikou V, the Energy Search, Mew. This is very indicative of the Vikavolt deck. So this should have a very good matchup against Aaron here. So we will have to see who is able to come up on top. If Aaron is able to get a solid turn or two to get some stuff in the Lost Zone, the item lock won't really affect him too much. But item lock, being able to effectively one-shot Comfeys while doing it is kind of crazy. We are going to go for an immediate Hisuian Heavy Ball to see our prize cards. Starting Ditto V with the V transformation kind of just outright shows you that this is Vikavolt. I don't know what else you would be playing if you're playing the Ditto V. We see the Raikou come out immediately from the prize cards. Makes sense. Aaron is nicely putting the prize cards out for the opponent. Honestly, they didn't change too much because that Energy Search is still in the same spot. We are also going for an Energy Search for a Water Energy. I do like that. I believe that's a team-up artwork for the Energy, which is pretty decent as well. So we are going to Trekking Shoes, keep the Trekking Shoes we get off the top, play the Trekking Shoes, discarding the Cross Switcher. Very interesting. I'm always afraid to discard Cross Switchers in decks that play it, because that means that one of the other copies in your deck is effectively dead. You'll have 3 more copies, but can only use them once. We are going to Quick Ball, discarding the Raikou V. Assuming at this point that you are playing against Lost Box, probably, knowing that you don't really need to keep that Raikou V. That's really just for Lugia matchups for the most part. So we are going to Radiant Greninja, draw 2 cards, discarding that Water Energy. We scoop up Net, we do the same play again, discarding another Water Energy to draw 2 more cards. We are looking for Vikavolt. And it's also important to note that Alex is going first. Looks like he V-transformations into the Raikou to get rid of the Ditto V, which is alright, especially since you now have access to that Speed Lightning and the Fleet-Footed. You can draw an additional card with Fleet-Footed here as well. We do get the Vikavolt down there on the bench. If Tarbell knew what Alex Cole here was playing, he would have chosen to go second. Usually these Vikavolt decks always want to go second specifically so that they can item lock on their first turn. Make it so these Lost Box decks do not have the ability to both play items and Chorus's Experiment in the same turn. The Vikavolt decks like to attach that Speed Lightning. They also like to Melanie to it as well. Draw 3 cards, then you have a fully powered up Vikavolt or even a Raikou V. Aaron here, gonna grab the double Comfey. As always, we like to see the double Comfey or Greninja Comfey off of these Battle VIP Pass. We already had the Greninja, so double Comfey was a given. We are going to look at the top 5 cards of our deck, and we are going to grab 3 of them and Lost Zone the other 2. Aaron really deciding which ones he wants to keep here is a little bit of a tough decision at this early of a point. Especially without, well, I guess he had a deck search, but I don't think he really prize checked very well with those 2 Comfeys when he put those 2 Comfeys in there. But we do see a Lost Zone of Sableye and Comfey. That is probably fine. You're likely playing double Comfey. His opponent did not switch for Escape Rope. Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, because Aaron went real fast into that flower selecting without allowing his opponent to promote first. You are supposed to have your opponent switch first. So that could have potentially become... I don't know. I guess it wouldn't be a penalty because you're giving yourself a disadvantage, but maybe a warning. So we are searching our deck for the Raikou. We also put that new art of the Raihan in the Lost Zone as well. That's a new regular Raihan. I believe it may be a holo from, what's it called? Crown Zenith. We are going to use the monkey here. We are going to put the Mirage Gate to the top of the deck, swap it out with the top card here. And we do get a Manaphy. That's not very useful in this matchup. Your opponent's not going to be playing the amazing rare Raikou. That's really what Manaphy is for in this day and age. Also for the Radiant Greninja as well, but that's not an attacker that Vikavolt generally sets up or uses, even though it does have the energy required to do so. It just, you have to hard attach to the Greninja 3 turns in a row in order to do that attack. So, very unlikely. Possible to do. You could always clean up a game, take your, like, maybe last 2 to 4 prize cards with it that way. But I mean, it's general, like, you're going to lose at that point anyway, so you don't really need the Manaphy for that. We are going to just retreat into the Cramorant, and we are going to hit for 110 after rebenching this Comfey here. So, Vikavolt generally does play scoop-up nets, so I would like to see another scoop-up net here. Looks like we are going to get rid of the Path to the Peak with our own Lost Vacuum. Very interesting to see that. That did disallow Aaron from being able to use his Greninja on the last turn, so he was able to get a lot less use out of his Pokemon that way. We do see the Switch card is going to heal the Greninja slightly. That could matter for Sableye damage later in the game, but not super likely. We are going to see the Speed Lightning. We do get to draw 2. We also have the Melanie. Would be pretty worried if we didn't have access to Melanie at this point in the game after having 2 turns here. I think Raikou, I don't remember if it's free retreat or 1 retreat, but either way, it can definitely retreat into this Vikavolt. You also have the Zapdos that will allow you to one-shot the Cramorant now after weakness. You're doing 50 plus 10 for Zapdos is 60, times 2 for weakness is 120, is 10 more than enough to knock out a Cramorant in 1 hit. We are Crobatting for 2 cards. Looks like we might be digging for maybe a switching card of some sort. We already had to waste 1 on the Radiant Greninja. Might have been a little bit better to see the Vikavolt come up if you were intending to attack with that previously. But it looks like we are going to retreat the Speed Lightning off, go in with the Vikavolt to item lock, and knock out the Cramorant at the same time. So Paralyzing Bolt comes out. Aaron Tarbell is no longer able to play item cards on this turn. We are going to see the Flower Selecting. He's going to put another card in the Lost Zone, another card in hand. Looks like it was 2 item cards. Got rid of the Quick Ball because if Item Lock breaks out at some point, he will be able to scoop up net his own Comfeys and really get going. So that was definitely the correct choice. We are going to use the Monkey. We are going to swap the top card of our deck. Looks like we get a Psychic Energy. We will be able to retreat that way, but into what? We don't have another Cramorant. I believe Aaron wasted that Cramorant early. I believe that, personally, I just would not have attacked into the Radiant Greninja. I would have saved the Cramorant for being able to attack into the Vikavolt, potentially, because you can two-shot a Vikavolt with Cramorants. So maybe a little bit of a suboptimal play in that regard. And just passes from here. So that Comfey will likely live to see another turn, but it will likely get knocked out by a Galarian Zigzagoon at some point as well. So we will be hitting for 60 with the Paralyzing Bolt here. We are going to Heavy Ball yet again, get a Mew out this time. And the judge is putting out the prize cards for us, thankfully. Very slowly. That Energy Search has moved one card closer now. There are no more Pokemon in there, so the Heavy Ball does not really do any benefit from here on out. We do get another Vikavolt into play. Another Melanie will allow us to draw another 3 cards after putting a Water Energy from discard. And we do see the Speed Lightning Energy to draw 2 more. We get, looks like, a basic Lightning off of that, along with another Melanie. So we will be really set for next turn to be able to keep chaining those Melanies. We do finally see that Scoop Up Net for the Greninja. I'm not sure if we used the Radiant Greninja's ability before we scooped it up, but either way is perfectly fine. I do believe, yeah, there are 2 Lightning Energies in hand, so. But maybe you want to save those so you could Super Zap Cannon at some point. Yeah, we are going to see the Greninja discard an energy, draw 2 cards. We get a Battle VIP Pass, not very good. You can monkey that to the top of your deck, then use Comfey, but you've already used the active Comfey for turn. You do not have access to your item cards, so you cannot scoop up the active Comfey, which is really annoying. Again, would be great to have a card like Pokemon Ranger in format. Lost Box decks may actually play that, should we have a card like that in format, just to get around this Vikavolt. Although you would have to be predicting Vikavolt to come into play. But I don't think anybody really predicted that Vikavolt would go off as hard during this tournament as it did. It had such a high percentage of play just out of nowhere. The deck really was not doing anything. I mean, it won a couple of regionals, but like, it was never played in high numbers just because the deck is just a little bit clunky, a little bit inconsistent. It hits for low damage numbers. And it is fairly easy to play around when you know what you're doing. Of course, I'm stupid, so I did not. And that is why I lost to 3 Vikavolt in a row. But now I'm going to have to start testing Vikavolt so I know its ins and outs a little bit better. The Zapdos is active, which, because of a boss's orders from Aaron here. So Alex will be digging for that Scoop Up Net, should he have any more, or an Air Balloon as well. They usually play 1 or 2 of those because of the Mews. You usually like to use a bunch of those to get going. Funnily enough, Alex had not had to use a single Mew during this game yet. And it goes to show that sometimes you can just get going without having to have your consistency tools. We do see the Energy Search is going to get a Water Energy. We are going to see Greninja come back down, discard and draw 2, because we'd rather have the Water Energies in the discard for Melanie. But do we yet have a way to move Zapdos? Yes, we have double Cross Switcher. Even though we had to discard 1 super early, we now have the Cross Switcher option. I think that you just go for the Comfey, potentially. And then if you have the double Scoop Up Net with... well, you've used a lot of Scoop Up Nets. Your deck is pretty thin at this point, right? So maybe going for the Raikou is better, in case your opponent does get 1 more card in the Lost Zone. They would then be able to attack with the Raikou, so might as well just bring that up now. That is definitely the more correct play. Get some damage on it now. So long as it does not move, you will be able to knock it out on the next turn with a second paralyzing bolt. So yeah, I do like that play a lot. We are going to use the monkey yet again. Just get another item card that we cannot play. We are thinking about benching another amazing rare Raikou. Attaching a medal to it and passing. Yeah, Aaron not looking so good in this game. Has not taken a single prize card yet. Has multiple knockouts set up on board. His opponent has already taken one prize card. His opponent has 2 fully powered up Vikavolts. I'm not quite sure exactly how you come back into this unless you are able to play... Oh, jeez. Unless you are able to play a Mirage Gate at some point, get out of the item lock. But Alex is not going to be allowing that. He bosses up the next Raikou to soften that one up as well, since that is the one with the energy card on it. We again use Primate Wisdom to get now a Psychic Energy. That's going to discard to draw 2. We do get a Sableye, just going to accidentally show it to the opponent, but it doesn't really matter. As you can see, Aaron is a little frustrated. He is not drawing into anything that can really help him, especially those boss's orders did not really do anything. And he says at this point that that is going to be game. There is no way that he can potentially recover when he is that far behind on board state, even though his opponent has only taken 1 prize card. The fact that he cannot play items himself means that he just cannot progress his board state enough in order to be in a position to even take prize cards. So he knows that Alex, over the next maybe 6 turns, will probably win the game. So just might as well scoop it up now. They still have 34 minutes left. Maybe they can play another 2 games. At the very least, maybe Aaron can win this second game and tie it up. So we will have to see exactly how this goes here. We see if we can skip ahead, see those prize cards. Do have our opponent putting their Pokemon down for the active. Looks like we do prize the Galarian Zigzagoon. That's going to be really important for Alex to know. So he's going to need to get that Hisuian Heavy Ball. He also prized a Melanie. For Aaron, he did prize a Colress's Experiment. So, and we see yet again, just like the first game, we see another start of the Ditto V and a discarding of a Cross Switcher super early. So, I mean, it tended to work out for him in the previous game. Will it still work out for him this game? So, yeah. So, since Aaron lost, he is forcing Alex to go first. Definitely knowing what he is playing against, knows that this Vikavolt deck likes to go second to be able to attack on turn 1 by using an attached for turn of a Lightning Energy and to the Melanie to get that second energy fulfilled. This gives Aaron the potential to both use items and Colress's Experiment in the same turn to get the maximum amount of cards in the Lost Zone as possible. So we're going to finally see a Mew ability. The Mysterious Tail allows you to look at the top 6 cards of your deck and take an item card. So we are going to go for a Quick Ball. That will likely discard a card and then search for a either Radiant Greninja or a Vikavolt, probably. We are seeing another discard of a Cross Switcher. So again, the consistency of getting a Cross Switcher play off in the late game will be much more difficult. Only having 2 copies of that, will have to have them both in hand at the same time. So Aaron definitely going to be aware of that. We were able to retreat because of the air balloon. It is also a promo air balloon, which is cool. I like seeing all these promo cards come out now. They are the same art. I liked it better when Pokemon was doing the alternate art promos. I really liked that. They were like all League Cup and League promos were all like, you got like alternate art Rescue Stretcher, Metal Frying Pan, stuff like that. I have a ton of those. Beast Ring. So goes off to Aaron's turn after we scoop up that Mew and put the Ditto back up, just in case Aaron is able to attack with something like a Cramorant this turn. He does not want that Mew one-shot. So we are, again, starting Greninja. This is looking a lot like Game 1. Both players started the exact same Pokemon. We are going to Battle VIP Pass for 2 Comfey. Again, the same play that Aaron went for Game 1. And we are going to discard and draw 2 with the Greninja. We are going to... Do we scoop that up, or do we just... I think we... Do we hard... Yeah, we hard retreated the Greninja. Into the Comfey, we Flower Selecting. We will Lost Zone the Quick Ball, play Escape Rope. His opponent is going to have to choose a new active Pokemon. Aaron immediately goes into the Flower Selecting. He is playing a little bit fast, knows that he does not have too much time for 2 more games, so wants to win this game as soon as possible. That very interesting decision. Do you want to keep the Quick Ball, or do you want to keep the Energy? You need the Energy to both retreat or to use Greninja on the next turn, but you need the Quick Ball to get Cramorant. You'd really love to be using Cramorant this turn, but you still need 2 more cards in the Lost Zone. You need a Chorus, and Aaron does not get it. Very unfortunate. 2 games in a row. I don't really think he got going on his first turn. I think he had the Chorus turn 1 last game, but he does not get it this game, so that's very, very unfortunate for Aaron. We are going to Energy Search. We're going to grab a Water Energy. We're going to have yet another Speed Lightning come down onto this Vikavolt, so now we will be free to Melanie to maybe the Ditto. I believe Ditto keeps all of the cards that are attached to it when you V-Transformation, along with all of its turns in play and things like that, so you could potentially evolve whatever you transform into. Say you transformed into the Crobat V, you then would be able to V-Max it should you want to do that. Looks like we are just going to go for the Vikavolt Paralyzing Bolt 450. I think that is perfectly fine, taking the 2-shot on the Comfey. We are going to use the Radiant Greninja's ability to draw 2 more cards. And Flower Selecting. I think it might be okay to get rid of the Ordinary Rod just because you can't realistically play it during the rest of this match. Aaron's going to really be hurting for a boss's orders here. Looks like he has one in hand, but what do you bring up? Maybe the... I mean, you could bring up the Crobat, but that has 1 retreat. If you bring up the other Vikavolt, they can just attach Lightning in Melanie, so... Looks like we are just going to pass from here after attaching a Grass Energy to a newly benched amazing rare Raikou. We are seeing a 3rd Speed Lightning Energy now come down to the Vikavolt. We are just 1 Melanie away, essentially, from that being able to attack. But we are going to be sticking with the active one. Yep, looks like he accidentally removed the damage from that active Comfey, but that was immediately replaced back on. And we do take the knockout with Paralyzing Bolt. So what is Aaron going to do here? He draws another Lightning Energy. He gets a Colress's Experiment. He's going to have to Lost Zone a Metal to use that, though. I think that you have to go for it, though. You have to be able to Chorus. You have to be able to maybe get a Cramorant in play. There's no Zapdos in play yet, so you don't really have to necessarily worry about the Comfey getting hit for 60 or the Cramorant getting hit for 120. We are going to Lost Zone Battle VIP Pass and Comfey, which is a pretty safe 2 cards in the Lost Zone there. We are going to use Radiant Greninja, discard a Fighting to draw 2. Looks like we draw into yet another Fighting. That's unfortunate. The Fighting really only works on the Rayquaza Amazing Rare. We do see that there is a Grass Energy in the discard pile already. I think he's considering benching the next Raikou. Yeah. So he has a Lightning that he could attach to the Raikou. Looks like he's spreading his energy out. Yeah, that energy was last turn. Yeah, that Grass Energy was definitely last turn, because when he benched the Raikou on last turn, he attached the energy. And then the knockout happened. So it looks like his opponent is saying that it's a double attach, so they're probably reviewing the footage and pausing the game. But yeah, that definitely was last turn. I 100% remember that. So Aaron's just like, yep, I know it wasn't a double attach, just review the footage. I'm sure that that's exactly what that call is. I'm going to listen in just in case.
That we're seeing, so I guess we'll be updated, I'm sure, on this soon. But yeah, this is, what do you think about this field so far, Kyle? Oh, looks like they resolved it. So we're now back over to Alex Cole's side.
Okay, yeah. So they probably, I bet you that's what it was about. I listened in too late to find out what it was about, and it was immediately resolved, so. That's why you got to make sure that you pay attention. You got to make sure that you keep track of your opponent's actions. If they do double attach, then you definitely have to call them on it, but you can't call them on it if it definitely wasn't. In my personal opinion, that should be a warning for Alex for not keeping track of game state, if he's gonna call his opponent on that. So we see the Melanie come down, attaches to this now active Vikavolt. We are going to be able to Paralyzing Bolt for, looks like 60, since the Zapdos does get benched. Aaron is readying that damage counter. And yep, goes for 6 damage counters on there. From 60 damage from the Paralyzing Bolt. We are going to use Chorus's Experiment. And remember that Galarian Zigzagoon for Alex is still in the prize cards, I do believe. I mean, it's possible maybe he was able to pull the Heavy Ball off prize cards again, but he would have played that already, right? So we do have another Chorus's Experiment, is lost zoning yet another 2 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we are at 8. The count on screen is correct underneath Aaron's face cam here. We are going to also use Comfey. We are now going to go up to 9. So should we ever get out of item lock, we will be able to play Mirage Gate. And we are 1 card in the Lost Zone away from being able to attack with Sableye as well, which could come into play at some point. That would be able to very easily knock out double Mews. It will force Alex to only ever have the 1 Mew in play. So this is looking a lot better this game for Aaron than it was last. We are going to use the Monkey Wisdom here. Aaron goes, oh, I got Heavy Ball. Let me play that. Oh, wait, no, I'm item locked. And I think he's just going to pass from here. Yep. Yeah, so I suppose the high count of Vikavolt decks was due to trying to hard counter maybe Lost Box, it seems. Especially with the now inclusion of the Sky Seal Stone that there is access to, it does make Vikavolt a little bit better because you can take 3 prizes on a Lugia V off of a Raikou, so off of your Raikou V. Or off of even your Vikavolt as well. Looks like a bunch of cards are going to get accidentally dropped for Aaron. Luckily, they all dropped face down, but you're shuffling anyways. I mean, if they flipped upside down, technically you could get a warning or prize penalty for getting information that you're not supposed to have, but he's searched his deck so many times, he should already know what's in there. So I don't understand why dropping cards like that during a shuffle is like any sort of penalty. But thankfully they all stayed face down, so we don't even have to see that argument happen. And we just go for the Paralyzing Bolt, taking a knockout on yet another Comfey. So Aaron is 1 energy away from being able to attack with this Raikou. Unfortunately, he has a Grass Energy on his other Raikou, and he does not play Energy Switch, and even if he did, I mean, he can't play it, it's an item, so. We are going to see Monkey Wisdom is going to dig us another card deeper, potentially, here. think maybe that was Sableye we put back. Looks like his hand is just a bunch of items, and he's just going to have to pass. So this is going to be the thing. Is Alex going to just hit for 60, giving Aaron another turn to potentially draw into the grass energy? Or is he going to go for the Super Zap Bolt, knocking out the Raikou in one hit, but then giving Aaron the ability to play item cards again? I think that it's a lot safer to just go for the 60, because even if you do get hit on the next turn by this Raikou, you are only getting hit for 120 on 2 Pokemon. Your Pokemon still live. And the other Raikou is really just not going to be able to get powered up immediately after this active one. So I think that hitting for Paralyzing Bolt for 60 is probably just better. And of course, Aaron could always just whiff the energy yet again. So yeah, very curious to see why Aaron decided to split his energy count like this. He attached to that first Raikou with the grass energy. Then he attached Lightning Metal to this other Raikou. We do see a Scoop Up Net is going to bring that Mew back into hand. He knows that Aaron is very close to being able to attack with Sableye, so he's just going to remove that easy prize card off of the board. We are going to see another Oranguru to dig one card deeper yet again. That did not look like a grass energy, so we are just going to pass. And at this point, I think that this is game. I think Alex has already just locked this up. You can see just how much of a one-sided matchup Vikavolt can be for Lost Box. Lost Box does have tools to get out of this. It does play Boss's Orders to try to, bring Zapdos up. It does have things like Roxanne as well. But just the fact that it relies, especially this version, so much on the Mirage Gate, there's really nothing you can do unless you can get 2 cheeky attacks with Cramorant early onto a Vikavolt, take 2 prize cards that way, before your opponent can get the Cape of Toughness down on the Vikavolt, because yes, of course, they play that as well. Looks like we are considering benching a Sableye, but we are still 1 card short in the Lost Zone. Looks like we do see the Raihan is finally going to be able to let this Raikou attack. So we are going to get the Metal Energy, search our deck for a Lightning. We can hard attach the Lightning, and then we can start sniping double Vikavolt this way. So now that will force Alex to break item lock if he wants to remove Raikou from the board. He can Super Zap Bolt to get rid of it, but then Aaron will be able to play all of his items that he has. And then we do see... Oh, he's going to knock out Zapdos. That's good. Oh, that's even better. So now that removes the option for Alex to be able to take a 2-shot with the Paralyzing Bolt, and it will remove the ability for the Paralyzing Bolt to one-shot Cramorant, should Cramorant come down again. A little less than ideal to not just soften up 2 Vikavolt Vs to be able to take 4 prize cards, but you do need to take out that Zapdos to make sure that that 10 damage, because that 10 damage doesn't really matter. So you are now forcing your opponent to Super Zap Bolt this turn to remove the threat of the Raikou. You can't just hit for 50. Looks like we are going to see a Cross Switcher. We are going to be going for that instead. Even though we discarded 2 Cross Switchers super early, we just still have the double Cross Switcher in hand. Doesn't even matter. We are going to bring up that Oranguru, and we are just going to hit that for a 3-shot with Paralyzing Bolt, which is kind of hilarious. That will give Alex some more time. He will be able to take 1 more prize card, potentially before breaking item lock. But that also gives Aaron more time to get that 1 more card in the Lost Zone to be able to attack with Sableye as well in the future. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how many turns does this take in order to potentially give Aaron a way around this item lock. Looks like we get the Colress's Experiment. We are going to go for over 10 cards in the Lost Zone now. We are going to Lost Zone Manaphy and Battle VIP Pass. Very easy choice there. Do not really have to think too hard about that. There is also a Rayquaza Amazing Rare. He could bench that and attach the Grass Energy to it if he really wanted to. But that would give Alex another thing that he could boss up. So it might be better to wait until the item lock is broken in order to bench that. Very interesting decision here on what exactly we do with that. Yeah, he is just, you can tell he's deciding whether or not he wants to bench that. Because I do think if you're going to Super Zap Bolt with the Vikavolt, you would probably rather go onto the Rayquaza in all honesty. Looks like we do get, that is a Forest Seal Stone. We can search our deck for any one card now. We are going to hard attach a Water Energy to our active. And yeah, this is giving Aaron the time he needs in order to just build up this Rayquaza on the bench. So, yeah, not sure if it was really the best call or not. Maybe he could have gone for the Sableye. That would have been 2-shot instead. Same with the Radiant Greninja. Could have been 2-shot instead. But it also just gives you the time you need to just completely set up. So we are going to go for the Heavy Ball. We V-Star for the Heavy Ball for Galarian Zigzagoon. And I think we're going to go for benching it to put 10 on the Oranguru. We're going to scoop up net it and then play it again to knock it out. Aaron now has to promote something. And since it is that Yeah, at this point, I think since it is that Raikou, you can afford to Super Zap Bolt, in my opinion. I don't think you have to, but you can afford to. Aaron, of course, wants the item lock to be broken, but at that point, you're going to be so far ahead. You're going to be down to one prize card. He needs to take a knockout on any one of Aaron's Pokemon. He already has... Yeah, he already has 2 other Vikavolts all set up, one of which has enough energy to just attack. So I think that you Super Zap Bolt to knock out the Raikou Amazing Rare. And there it is. Item lock is now broken. Again, just like the Seismitoad EX of old, sometimes when you want to just win the game, you go for the Grenade Hammer instead of the Quaking Punch. And it does not matter if you broke the item lock or not if you're far enough ahead. He shows that he has the Lightning Energy in hand, so he is able to even just retreat one of his Pokemon or power up the Ditto V to transform into any other attacker. And Alex Cole goes on to win the game. So yeah, that was pretty one-sided, was really unfortunate. Aaron really did everything he could in order to try to come back into that game, but unfortunately it was just that bad of a matchup. And you see Aaron just wants to run away from that game. He did not like that. There are honestly a lot of games on the stream for this time that are very one-sided. This is my first time watching most of these games. I only saw like the finals and top 4 live while I was in the car driving home, but I do know how some of these played out because my friends were watching the stream sometimes between rounds or at night after we got back from the tournament. So do not forget, guys, to comment, like, and subscribe. It feeds that YouTube algorithm. We can get remonetized again. We can start pouring money back into the channel and doing all that cool, fun stuff. Only about 15% of you right now are subscribed, according to the watch time numbers on my analytics. So make sure you subscribe so that you can see that stuff come in. Make sure you hit that like button so it shows up in other people's feeds. Comment down below should you choose to. If you want to say something nice, say hi, whatever. It's all cool. We will see you guys next round for another winning in.